Good evening.
A lot different then.
I'd like to call the City of Waterville City Council meeting for Monday, March 11th, 2024 to the order. And first, we'd like to ask Vice Mayor Mary Duncan to lead us in the prayer.
Loving God, as we come together tonight for the City of Waterville, we pause to ask you to be with us and guide our way. May your spirit of peace surround all we say and do this evening. We ask for your strength to do what is best for the good of Waterville. Lord God, as servants of your people, we pray that you grant us a share of your wisdom. Amen.
Thank you. And I'll rise, and I would ask the Chamber of Commerce Director, Michelle Smith, to lead us in the pledge. Thank you. And I'd ask the clerk to have roll call.
Mrs. Duncan?
Here.
Mr. Browski?
Here.
Mr. Garber?
Here.
Mayor Pedro?
Here.
Mr. Wagner?
Here.
Mr. Rosick?
Here.
Mr. Bruno?
Here.
The next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from our meeting from February 26th. Those were sent out to you the other day. I'd ask for a motion to accept the minutes.
So moved.
Tom Brownson, need a second?
Second.
Second, Wayne Wagner.
And then I will need to abstain from that. I was not here at the last meeting.
All right, thank you.
I'll abstain also, Mayor.
All right. Any other comments or corrections? We have a first and a second. We have two abstentions. All those in favor say aye.
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 All righty. Next is some citizens' comments, and I have two folks that would like to speak. Ladies first, we'll go with Terry Masucci. Could you please go to the podium, tell us your name and address?
Terry Masucci, 1101 Waterville, Monclova Road, Waterville. Real quick, I wanted to just give an update on the Easter egg hunt. It's going really well, the scavenger hunt and the Easter egg hunt. We've got this flyer. I will be posting, and it's on different sites of social media as well. So it's March 23rd from 9 to 11. We'll have hot chocolate, water, milk, donuts, and then there'll be, I think, over 1,600 eggs and novelty toys scattered throughout the different age groups, 0 to 2, 3 to 5, 5 to 8, and 8 and above. And then the scavenger hunt has been going very popular. These packets can be picked up at the Waterville Library. The lobby is open all the time, so they're always in there, and I'm always checking to make sure there's enough of them. The response has been great. So they pick these up in the lobby, they play the game, answering the clues to the eggs that are the number of the egg that's on the different businesses, and they turn it in. They'll get a nice little treat, and then we'll draw the winners at the Easter egg hunt on the 23rd. Next thing I wanted to bring up real quick is the solar eclipse watch party. I wish I had this in color. Bria did a great job on this flyer, but I only have a black and white printer. But it is posted on different social media sites. That will be April 8th, 2024, of course. We'll have Uncle Louie's food truck, the rolling lemonade truck. We'll have a DJ, Mr. Music, and a photo booth, 50-50 raffle. We'll have chalk art. I'm working on face painting. We're also working on a program from Amazing Athletes where they will do a program with the kids for an activity, whether it be, we're meeting with them on Thursday, so I'll know more about that program after Thursday. But it should be exciting for all the kids and adults to come and watch the eclipse take place. Any questions?
Council?
Is
Go ahead, Ted.
Is the Easter Bunny going to be there on the 23rd?
Oh, let me check. Yes.
Okay.
Counting on it. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, and thanks to your committee for all the efforts. I know there's a few of you in the audience. Thank you. Next, we have citizen Rob Allen. Please come to the podium and state your name and address, please.
Yeah, Rob Allen, 425 Anthony Wayne Trail, apartment 103. I came in here today because, as Mr. Wagner knows, I've been having a real go at him online about the lies he's told for the last year. And it was really shocking to me to find out from the Waterville Police Department that he went so far as to attempt to file criminal charges against me for the things that I was saying online. Things that I've proved were the truth. It is absolutely shocking that a city council member would take the time to go to the police to file charges against a private citizen and violate their First Amendment right to free speech. But I think the most important thing is what the prosecutor says back, which, if you'll bear with me. This report reflects an alleged conduct online wherein a Rob Allen made some Facebook group posts that Mr. Wagner was concerned were threats towards him. Most specifically, Mr. Wagner did not like one or more posts allegedly referring to him as Punchline and adding a meme that the beatings will continue until morale improves. As there is no direct contact, no direct threat, no direct contact or threat coupled with both a request to cease direct contact and a violation of that request, there is no criminal conduct alleged. Additionally, as above, Mr. Allen has a First Amendment right to free speech, which necessarily includes speech concerning public officials. Punchline is defined as the final phrase or sentence of a joke or story providing the humor or some other crucial element. People are certainly permitted to use names such as this, especially toward public servants. It should be noted in here when he says, as above, he's talking about a similar report that Mr. Wagner filed against Bree Wise, which the prosecutor also declined to file charges in. All over his feelings being hurt over a Facebook post. I think that about sums it up. Thank you.
Council, comments?
I would just like to note that that was referred out to a special prosecutor, as obviously the Waterville prosecutor would be conflicted out from being able to give an opinion on that. So that was not the opinion of the Waterville prosecutor, because we wouldn't be allowed to give an opinion.
Good.
At our expense.
Alrighty, we will move on to citizens' comments. I guess we have those. So we're going to break for an executive session, like the Big Ten, the NCAA final. We're going to have a little break here. Normally our executive session's at the end of the meeting, but there are some things that we want to discuss in executive session per the matters of the Ohio Revised Code 121.22G, 2, the purchase or sale of property. And so we're going to be in executive session. I'm guessing we might be there 20 minutes, perhaps half an hour, but we will come back out and conduct business. So I need a roll call I need a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
So moved, Anthony Bruno. I need a second.
Second.
Second, John Rozek. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we will go into executive session. motion to come out of executive session?
So moved.
So moved, John Rozick. Need a second?
Second.
Second, Tony Carver. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are back in regular session, which leads to our staff reports. Our administrator, John.
Thank you, Mayor. Council has a copy of my report. A couple of things I wanted to mention. The city did assist the Fallen Timbers Recreation Center with their bid opening for their concession stand assembly room project. So we had the bid opening here at the city, and we opened the bids for them. We tabulated the bids, and we sent the bids on to their engineer so they can evaluate and decide who they want to award their project to. So we helped the Fallen Timbers Recreation Center with that. We have our first meeting of the comprehensive plan update. That's April 2nd, 2024 at 6 p.m. One thing I discussed with the mayor, and we're having a solar eclipse party apparently here, and a lot of people aren't going to be open on that day, and of course we have a council meeting on April 8th, and I just is that something maybe we would want to reschedule? And then every so often, every few years, Memorial Day does fall on the fourth Monday in May, so we have to reschedule for Memorial Day. Typically, we look at June 10th, the second Monday in June. Usually we have one meeting in June, so I guess historically we've moved that meeting into June, where we would have two meetings in June instead of having two meetings in May. So that's something for council to consider. The city did also, we did receive notice from the Ohio Public Works Commission that we received a grant of $239,285, and that's for our Waterville Montclover Road widening project. So we got a federal grant for $1,086,278. So we have our grant, federal grant, we have our state grant. So our overall project cost is about 6% that the city will have to pay for that particular project. Right now, it's $1,400,000 approximately, and that's the estimate for the construction cost in 2025, and that's for the widening of Waterville Montclover Road. If anybody has any questions?
So just a couple of comments, council, if you will continue on the conversation. Like John mentioned, we talked about the April 8th meeting, possibly changing that, and then also Memorial Day. So one of the comments that I made to John was on the April meeting that we might just go to Tuesday, April the 9th, which is the next day, or we would have it on the 8th, however council feels. And then the other one on Memorial Day, which is the 27th of May, that we would consider, possibly the 28th or 29th, or we would roll into June, I think like John mentioned. So let's go with the eclipse first. Council, comments one way or the other? Have it on, just continue having it on the 8th, or push it to the 9th?
I would leave it where it is.
I'll push for the 9th.
Tony?
I will leave it right where it is.
Okay.
I agree, leave it on the 8th. And the party is on the 8th?
Yeah, from 2 to 4.
Oh,
2 to 4.
It's
probably just leave it on that day.
John, we skipped over you,
I
not
know, I'm
intentionally,
Yeah,
but
no,
Slightly
he has
offended,
no
but that's
opinion.
all right. Are the offices open on the 8th, John?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I think we could probably do it on the 8th in that case, but if John, if you don't think
that's
so,
what I was
John,
gonna say too, John. Keep
Yeah,
going.
I noticed UT is closed, BG is closed now. I just, it's kind of I guess I didn't expect that, but universities are closing for this. And,
Like 50,
so, I know it's historic,
It
right?
happens
It's not gonna happen for
not in the
Can
same
we
area.
100
give,
years.
can we give our guys a 3-hour break
in the middle of the day? Say, hey, you're off for half a day, so they get to enjoy it? Were you thinking about closing, I guess is what I'm asking.
Well, no, actually, I wasn't. I just thought that, I'm sure the staff would want to see the eclipse, and, you know, they could
Right.
go see it if they want, you know, with the appropriate glasses on, of course.
Gotcha.
So,
Well, I think that's right. I mean, if we're sponsoring an eclipse party, more or less,
We should
you know, our gang should go also.
Right, I agree.
So let's go back to what consensus I'm hearing is just keep the meeting, the council meeting as is on the 8th. Unless something comes up in our next council meeting that they're closing the state of Ohio, we'll act. But let's be the first to stay open. Blizzard of 78, eclipse of 24. We're open. We're open. All right. So they got that settled. Now let's talk about
June.
Memorial Day.
And usually we,
John, you had a recommendation. I thought maybe I butchered it up, but on
yeah, it would be June 10th is the second Monday in June,
Yep.
and, you know, that would follow the usual schedule where we have our second and fourth Monday meetings. June, July, August, we only have one, the fourth Monday of the month, but, you know, every 3 years or so, I think, it turns out this way, so.
All right, so any strong objections of taking the May 27th, which is Memorial Day, and moving that meeting to June 10th?
no problem.
Don't we already have a June 10th meeting?
No, we meet the last Monday in June, July, and August, generally speaking.
I would just like to point out on the Firemen's Association Carl Conrad Scholarship, we're awarding that on June 10th.
We do it here.
At least so the application says.
Yeah, they would do it here. I think they
Right.
come, is that what you mean? That
Yeah.
Yeah,
The bottom page says the last meeting in May, but then on the front of it, it says June 10th.
Okay. Well, they,
So-
that, you know, they.
They do it every
would do
year.
it at the
They
fourth
do.
Monday in June.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'd still have a meeting on the 24th of June also, 2 in June, right?
2 in June,
Yeah,
but
2 in
no meeting on the 27th
Yeah.
of May.
yeah. All right, so just to clarify, we will not have a meeting on Monday, May 27th. That meeting will roll over to June 10th, which is a Monday, and then we'll go to our summer schedule, the last Monday in June, and the last Monday in July, and the last Monday in August.
Yep.
Okay, good. Moving on from there. Anything else on your report?
I have one question.
Yeah, got anything else, John?
No.
Council? Mary?
I'm good.
Todd?
All good.
Tony?
John, on the water line replacement for, back in the alley back here, are they gonna repave that alley?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I've had some business owners come to me and ask me about the curb cut on Mechanic Street. The trucks cannot make it in there. In fact, you'll see the tracks from the trucks. Is there a way, since we're gonna be repaving that, to expand that opening so trucks can get in when they go to Waterville Hardware Store and Subway and so on?
You know, we can take a look at it. Part of that is privately owned, so I don't, you know, we couldn't do any work on private property, but, we could see how wide that right of way is there, and we could expand the turning
Okay.
radius out. But, we're gonna do the water line first, and that would take about 3 weeks to do. I would think that for the most part, the work itself would take a couple days, and then, you know, grading, compacting, and then getting ready to pave it this summer.
Yeah, if you could have Kenny and look at that to see if we can make that bigger so the trucks aren't making such a big mess there at Mechanic, and that would be fantastic.
Anything else?
No, sir?
Wayne?
I'm good.
John?
Thanks, Mayor. No, John answered all the questions I was gonna raise, so thanks, John. That's-
The only comment I had, back to what John mentioned, is number 8 on his report on the fallen timbers. I just want to remind council and certainly our citizens, here's an example of a nonprofit working with the city with a cooperative effort, and all the work was put into this grant by Matt Flaggar and his team from Fallen Timbers, and they received some state funding for the recreation center, and part of the process is the city has to be involved, and that's why John attended the bid opening. So there again, cooperation amongst nonprofits and so forth. Alrighty, we will move on to our law director.
No report, Mayor.
thank you. And next, Finance Director. And our Treasurer. Okay, those are all NRs, no reports. All right, next, communication from council members, and we'll start down here with Anthony Bruno.
I just had one thing I wanted to bring up. So I watched although not here, I watched the last meeting, and I did notice, and I'm not entirely sure what their names are, but they were in here at the last meeting talking about everything with the Buffalo Rock noise and things like that. And I guess just because I don't know a lot about it, although I did hear both of them speak, and they had talked about I believe the doors being up and something to do with the acoustics and it's amplified music that they're playing. I guess I would like to see, I wish someone from Buffalo Rock would come into our meeting just so we could really get their side of the story as well and understand what's going on, because there comes a point where, yes, your home is near a business and, you know, dealing with that, you're gonna hear some noise, but there comes a point as well that there's law to be followed, and I just would like to see, the noise ordinance be followed by them, just because of the fact, you know, it doesn't sound like they're really enjoying their backyard throughout the summer because of that. And like I said, I really don't know both sides of the story. I am truly just going off what I heard at the last meeting, but I would like to see the city, the police department, whatever it might be, get involved to the point that we can mitigate it. And, you know, it could be that we mitigate it and the noise is still, you know, annoying. That could be the situation as well. But it could also be that we just need to make sure that they're following the proper protocol, and that's what I'd like to see. And I understand, you know, they were asking that we hadn't acted on it really, and I think a lot of that was because of the winter months and they aren't having outdoor music. But as we are getting into the spring season, I'd like to see that addressed very quickly.
I'm gonna let John speak, John Golkenauer, but I did have a chance to talk to the folks earlier today, and what I explained to them that the city is taking action, has taken action. Secondly, there have been many visits over the last year to the business, and there was conversations. Only one time it went over the meter, if you will. And so what we agreed to when they were here earlier, that I would follow up with them in another couple of weeks. But basically, like you just said, as a business in our community, there needs to be some cooperation on both sides and a clear understanding of what can and can't be done. But I would say, in a nutshell, they seem to be satisfied with what I gave them information tonight, but they're interested in going forward. And John, do you want to add to that?
Thank you, Mayor. Actually, the police have been at this property. In 2023, they were there starting on April 15th to October 27th. So during the warm weather season, they made 58, I guess I would say, unscheduled visits. They didn't take readings because of complaints. They periodically check the noise, and as the mayor mentioned, in the rear of the parking area, they exceeded the noise limit on April 15th, which was the first day that they were, I guess, opened their doors or their garage doors. So the city is monitoring the noise, and I think it is a good idea if you know, we sit down with the owners, and if there's a way we can try to make it work for everybody.
I think that's one
that
of the
would be a
beginning
great thing to do.
beginning steps to just say, hey, we've had some concern. Obviously, you're not going to be able to hear a pin drop. That's not ever going to happen with a business in your backyard, you know. But there has to be a happy medium. So that's where I'm at. And like I said, I'm just basing it from what I've heard throughout the time that they've been here, and I really just want to see that it be taken care of for them.
Good. Noted. Thank you. Thank you. John Rosick?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple things. First, I want to remind everybody that we have a primary election next week. So there's some important issues on the ballot for Anthony Wayne, Lucas County, and also, depending on what ballot you choose, some important selections for candidates for the general election. So please get out and vote. Don't forget, if you haven't already voted, you can still vote early until Sunday, I think, Sunday. Excuse me. The other thing I wanted to mention, Mayor, and I had to miss the last meeting, joyfully, I might say, not because I missed the meeting, but because we had a joyful event in the family. But I didn't get a chance, because of that, to discuss the appropriations. And I'm concerned about the appropriation. I know you had approved the appropriations because of the deadline. Otherwise, the city would have shut down, right, Katie? This week we'd be out of business.
Lights off.
But the appropriation, I'm concerned about the health insurance matter, or appropriation, which was $67,850 for 2024. And so I asked John what that was all about, and he sent me the ordinance that we passed in 2018, which appears to make eligible elected officials in the city. However, I think the ordinance is less than clear, and you could probably read it at least two ways at least. There are some commas missing, perhaps, in the ordinance, but regardless of the whether it's confusing or clear as mud, I'm concerned that we are incurring $67,000 from, I'm not sure how many members have enrolled, but if you multiply that by 7, if we all enrolled for health care over 4 years, it could approach $1 million in premium as the premiums increase. So I'd like to revisit that, and I would suggest that we revise the ordinance to eliminate eligibility for, no offense, Wayne, eligibility for elected officials.
Okay, council comments? I have a few, but I'll start with Mary.
I have no comment.
No comment.
No comment.
Wayne?
Yep.
So, what I would propose, because, John, you brought up, and I've heard from some citizens along the lines, and rather than make a decision tonight, I would like us, all of us, to come back in a couple of weeks with maybe some ideas of what might be a step going forward. I know that I think it was something that was in the budget, or at least was an ordinance, and none of us took advantage of it because we have day jobs and health insurance is paid for. And like John said, if all 7 of us did access that, it'd be a substantial amount of money. And you know me, I like to do roads, so there'd be another couple roads we could do going forward. Nevertheless, I want to be clear that this is something that was in the budget, something that was in the ordinance, so it wasn't like it was grabbed at the last minute. It just came about. So every once in a while, we do have to look at these things and make some decisions. So my recommendation is to, unless there's no more comments today, is to come back, put this on the agenda for the next meeting and have some more discussion. Is that okay?
Sounds good to me.
All right.
Yep.
John, anything else you brought up?
Yep, that's all I had, Mayor, thank you.
All right. Wayne Wagner.
I have nothing.
Tony?
No report, sir.
Todd?
I got a couple things. One, just a reminder that we're gonna be working on the roundabouts. You know, we're gonna be planting those here shortly, so I'm gonna need some volunteers when we end up doing those on Dutch Road. Secondly, I've talked to some citizens about mile-per-hour reduction coming into Waterville on Anthony Wayne Trail. Did my due diligence with ODOT, and then I talked to John Gokenauer about this, and Chris Waterfield is from ODOT. He had suggested that we do a waiver to get, being there hasn't been a journalized entry since the bypass of 24. They do a withdrawal of the city limits of that stretch of road, where we would take control of that stretch of road. And then if we were to do that, we could reduce the mile per hour coming into Waterville. Now, all of us are like, why do we want to reduce the speed coming into Waterville? There's only 8 houses, right? it's not just the 8 houses coming out, and I've done it, and I've pulled in driveways and pulled off a canal, or Village Parkway on the canal and then pulled out. As you come around that curve, it is sometimes difficult to get out, and then somebody's right on your butt, or, you know, kids are coming out quite fast. So I'm kind of thinking that it might be a good idea for us to at least look at that. And John, you had said something about a speed study, which would cost the city between $3,000 and $4,000. I don't know for a fact, but I thought a speed study has been done recently by Lucas County, where either when Taco Bell came in or recently along there. So I'm not sure we would need that, if we could pull that. However, according to Chris, once we get control of that stretch of roadway, we would not have to do a speed study. And John, I don't know all the details. This is by what Chris said. I think I forwarded the emails to you. So it's just, I wanted to throw that out there. If we revisit this in the future about reducing that stretch of roadway. Right now it's 50, 55 on the other side. I was thinking 40 or 45 coming in, and basically from where the old recycling place is into Waterville. Basically like it is coming in from the other side of Waterville. So Anthony Wayne Trail coming in from Grand Rapids. So, yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know if anyone else has had that same issue, like pulling out a canal where.
Every day, Todd. Every
Yes,
day.
so you know the feeling, so yeah. And just, when you pull out that curve, did you get the same thing?
Oh, yeah.
When cars are coming right around that curve? Okay, so I do think it is something that we probably should look at.
Both
It's a
ways,
safety
actually,
thing.
both
Both ways.
coming both ways, right?
Yep, so,
Thank you. Todd,
yep,
anything
that's it, no, that's it.
That's all.
Mary?
Sure. Okay, I attended a meeting this week for Anthony Wayne Bridges, and I know those who saw the meeting or watched it later, we had a nice presentation from our Anthony Wayne School District, and they talked a lot about how we help students through the Anthony Wayne Bridges Association. And during the month of March, they're going to be doing a push for more people to sign up. We have about 406 members. Most requests that go on to the website, they actually email out the requests. They're usually filled within 2 hours. So we have plenty of people that have volunteered, but at this time they'd like to get, for a community of our size, up to around 750 people on the Bridges website as people who are willing to help students in need. The website is neighborhoodbridges.org/community/Anthony-Wayne. So sign up. That's it. They help everybody. They help families. They put in a water heater at a house this January, all volunteer, all donated from the Anthony Wayne community. So it's not just for the students. Anthony Wayne came in and talked quite a bit about how they have helped students, but it's also their families. They're doing great work. I highly recommend it.
Good. Thank you, Mary. A couple of things, a few of them have already been mentioned, but just to reiterate, thanks to the Chamber of Commerce for being here tonight. I've been to a few of the meetings, as well as some of the other council members. I think it's a good cooperation. Again, we've already planned our Rush de Boeuf festival and Friday night activity, and there's already a lot of activity being planned. We'd mentioned the solar eclipse. Again, I want to thank the committee that's helping with that. You know, Waterville does have great volunteers, and it's nice when city council gets the heck out of the way and let people just do their job. I think I may have mentioned this, but if I didn't, I was able to attend the first tree commission of the year, and I'm trying to do that to all the committees, just to say thanks to the volunteers that participate in those sessions, and I have had a chance to swear in those members. And then secondly, the Parks and Recreation Committee met, and I again sat in on that meeting, and lots of energy there. Big shoes to fill with some of the members that left that committee, but I know they got a lot of things planned for the year. I I want to thank again Dr. Fritz and his team for attending our council meeting last time. I thought they gave a great presentation about the schools and what an asset we have in our community. Todd, going back to the safety, just ironically, I was with Patrick McCauley, District 2 Deputy Director this morning at another meeting, and we talked just generally. ODOT does have some safety funds that will come in and do some studies, and this may qualify. So I have not had a chance to even download John, but we'll certainly look into getting the state to help us with that. And then Mary Duncan has been asked, and she's accepted graciously. She'll be attending the Lucas County Health Department District meeting coming up this Wednesday. It's something that we belong to with all the municipalities in our county to participate in the health department. And that's all I have. Next is old business. Resolution authorizing the municipal administrator to award a contract to Pyrotonic for professional services for the display of fireworks for the city of Waterville. We tabled this in our last meeting, so I asked to put this back on the table. Need a motion?
So moved.
Mary Duncan, second, and Todd Borowski. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, John, can you update us, please?
Thank you, Mayor. We did ask council to table this at the last meeting. We were hoping to get another proposal in. We haven't gotten another proposal, so I guess I would recommend that we proceed with our proposal with Pyrotechnico to have a fireworks display on July 6th, 2024 at a cost of $25,000.
I would just add to that for those of you that know John Rosick, we normally don't have fireworks except on the 4th of July. So I'm asking council to go to John's house on the 4th of July with a sparkler and let him have his own fireworks.
You're all welcome. Thanks, Mayor. I was going to make that comment, so thank you very much. Not about coming to my house with sparklers, but
John, to avoid having to move the date, would we consider a multi-year contract going forward, maybe for 25, 26 or 25, 26, 27, so that we can lock in the 4th? Because we're going to struggle with this going forward if we don't. Because I think that's what other communities do.
No, I think we could do that. It just, over the last, 10 years or so, there's just fewer and fewer people doing this. And,
Right.
and it's harder to get people to commit to a show, and then, you have to do it fairly early in the year, maybe even December even,
Right.
Lock something in. So yeah, I think that's a good idea. We've
Do
discussed
we need to
that.
do a resolution to allow you permission to do a
Well,
multi-year contract or anything?
I think we can, we can speak to our vendor that, Pyrotechnical, about a multi-year after the event and
Right.
see what they have to say. After this year's event, we could
Yeah.
try to lock it in right after the event.
Yep, that would be good.
July 4th next year, good point, Mary. July 4th is on a Friday next year,
Right.
which I would find perfectly acceptable. July 4th, John. So I would suggest, even if we can do it now, getting them signed up for next year, July 4th,
For the 25th, for 25, 26.
25 and 26, if we can do it, yes.
Good conversation. I think, like John said, I know from my day job, the whole industry is changing, insurance and liability, and there's just fewer and fewer of them, but good ideas, so let's move on those ideas. All right, so we took this off the table. John gave us some more recommendation. I just need a motion to move forward on resolution 0724, and I'll reserve this for John Rosick to make that motion.
I could make the motion very reluctantly. Only because nobody else wants to provide fireworks at that time in July. So I will move with the proviso that we try to get this organized for 2025 and 2026.
All right, that's a motion. I need a second.
Second.
Second, Tony Garver. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All righty. Moving on to new business. This is a referral to the Planning Commission, a conditional use permit application to allow residential use on a parcel of Zone C2 Commercial District located at 104 South 3rd Street. John, would you please provide more information?
Thank you, Mayor. This is a application for a conditional use permit to allow a residential use on a parcel that is zoned C2 Commercial District, and it's located at 104 South 3rd Street. So this is a referral to the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission will be meeting on April 1st at 7 p.m. to consider this issue, and then it will go back to council for 3 readings after that.
Council, any questions today?
Is this the property we considered a couple months ago? Different, or is this a different property?
It's different.
No, we did have a request, maybe it was a year or two ago down the street, that was a residential
Yeah.
use, active residential use, and she wanted to change the zoning, and it didn't work. So
Okay.
this is a different request.
All right.
I have a question for you, John. So I believe this property at one time was residential, then the owner next door asked to have it moved to commercial, and then it's going back to residential. It is clearly a house. Do we have to go through the planning commission? Can we just approve it to go back to residential, being it's clearly a house now, or no?
Well, it was a house at one time, and then somewhere in the past, it was zoned commercial, so it became a
It's a
commercial
zoning.
use, and it was used as an office for several years. So I guess the non-conformity changed to a permitted use. So now the new owner wants to bring it back to a residential use. We had a unique situation on River Road where we had the house that's next to the old gas company. That was zoned commercial, and it was just being used for storage, and that was approved as a conditional use for a residential use.
So would we be changing the zoning, or are we making it a conditional use that somebody can live there?
We're not changing the zoning, we're adding a conditional use to allow a residential use on a commercial piece of property. I know that's.
Is that easier than changing it to residential?
Well, if you change it to residential, it's surrounded by commercial
That's
property.
true.
So when you do that, you make all the commercial property around it non-conforming, so they don't meet the setbacks and
Yep.
things. So it really causes more problems when you
Okay.
do it that way.
All right, thank you.
I need a motion to have this referral to the Planning Commission.
So moved.
So move Mary Duncan, need a second?
Second.
Second, Todd Borowski. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Next is ordinance number 0224, an ordinance pursuant to the Charter, Section 5.02, adopting personnel rules, amending Sections 1.03 and 4.08 of the Waterville Personnel Policy and Procedure Manual and declaring an emergency. John, would you please elaborate?
Thank you, Mayor. This is another issue where we have to bring our personnel manual, make it consistent with our labor agreements. We have 4 collective bargaining agreements, and we want to treat all the employees the same. And so we have to revise the definition of active pay status, which is in the section 1.03, to indicate that you can't use it in the calculation of overtime, and then section 4.08, which we would pay overtime if you work over 8 hours in a day or 40 hours in a week, and that is also in our collective bargaining agreements. So we want to try to make everything consistent across the entire staff at the city.
Council, any questions for John?
Just a quick one, Mayor. I don't want to go out of turn here, though, but
Go right ahead.
so if you work more than 8 hours in a day, even if it's not a 40-hour week, even if you don't work 40 hours that week, you still get overtime for that day. Is that right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Are we gonna update the verbiage that says paid from the village? and all this about the village, or can't we, do we have to, does that have to go
That,
on the
that would,
ballot?
that would really be a drastic, total rewrite, and that's kind of what I had in mind with that, is we would redo the entire thing, because
Okay.
it's like almost every other sentence it
It's
says village.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
All right, so, I move that the rules be suspended to allow for the passage of ordinance number 0224 as emergency measure. Need a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Rozick?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Mayor Pedro?
Yes.
Mr. Garber?
Yes.
Mr. Brasky?
Yes.
Mrs. Duncan?
Yes.
I move for the final passage of ordinance number 0224, first and final reading as an emergency measure. Need a second?
Second.
Second, Mary Duncan. Any more discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Duncan?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Garber?
Yes.
Mayor Pedro?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Rozick?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Alrighty, next is resolution 0824, a resolution authorizing the transfer from the general fund 100 to the Parks and Green Space Fund 225, the fire levy 265, and the 5-year fund 325. John, would you elaborate, please?
Thank you, Mayor. This is a resolution which authorizes the transfer of money from the general fund to the Parks and Green Space Fund, the Fire Levy Fund, and the 5-year capital fund. And although the council approved the transfer in the passage of the 2024 appropriation ordinance, the Auditor of State asks us to approve transfers with a resolution. So that's the reason for this resolution tonight.
Okay, I need a motion to accept resolution 0824.
So moved?
Mary Duncan.
Second.
Second, John Rozick. Any more discussion? All those in favor of resolution 0824 say, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Next is resolution 0924, a resolution authorizing the municipal administrator to enter into an agreement with Lucas County regarding the provisions of a countywide advanced life support, ALS, for emergency medical services in Lucas County, Ohio. John?
Thank you, Mayor. This proposed resolution would authorize a new advanced life support emergency medical service agreement with Lucas County. So since 1993, the county has administered a countywide advanced life support, ALS, medical system in the county, and they funded 10 county life squads at various locations throughout the county. So now they are proposing a new agreement where essentially they're decentralizing the ALS operation, and it's going to be provided primarily by local fire departments. And the city would be providing ALS service to a new area called the Southwest Service Area, which would include the city, the village of White House, Waterville, and Providence Townships. The county would provide the city with a subsidy of $402,198 a year to provide this coverage. Unlike the past where they provided training and supplies and vehicles and things, they're kind of taking a step back, and now they're only providing a subsidy. So the city will be providing that service with cooperation with the Village of White House. We've looked at this for about a year, and we've had a lot of meetings, Fire Chiefs Association and different entities. We've met, we've talked about it, and kind of refined it to the point of where it is now. Our co-op committee recommended that this be approved by the City of Waterville and the Village of White House. And the Village of White House recently approved this same agreement at their last meeting. I believe that was on March 5th.
Okay, so I need a motion to pass resolution 0924.
So moved.
Ray Duncan, need a second?
Second.
Second, Tony Garver. Any more discussion?
Just a couple points I would make, Mayor. First, this agreement came from the county. We didn't ask the county for the agreement. I think that's correct, John, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess it came from the county, but this is probably the fourth revision of the
Yeah,
agreement.
well-
So it's gone back and forth with,
I mean, the whole concept of us providing the service.
the county is the one
Yeah.
that,
They initiated the change.
Exactly,
They're
yes,
leading.
yes. And I guess, you know, to be honest, I think they could have fixed the existing system and it would have worked fine, but this is the way they wanna go with their, program, and I guess
Right.
gotta do the best we can with it.
We do have to do the best we can with it. And just to be clear again, excuse me, the $400,000, $402,000 is earmarked for this year, but it's only guaranteed at this point for 3 years, I believe, and then the county can relook at it. We can take another look at it at that point.
It's an evergreen contract, so I guess technically it doesn't expire until someone gives notice, and they have to give 2 years' notice. So it has to be in operation for a year before you can give your 2-year notice. So if any of the entities that are involved with this want to get out of the agreement, then they have to give their 2-year notice and wait 2 years. So I guess it's perceived by some to be a 3-year agreement, because you could
Right.
give your notice and you wait your 2 years, and then that's it.
And lastly, we absorb any expenses over the $400,000,
Correct.
just to be clear.
Yes.
So with all that, that's all I have, Mayor. We can now-
Anyone else? I have a comment, but I'll wait till others. So, John and I, obviously, as he mentioned, this has been talked about by various committee members. It's not the ideal, but it is a cooperative effort. The one thing that I'd like us to put in our resolution is that we would like to move up the timeline when we receive the reimbursement or the $402,000. I think right now it's the end of 2025, and I'm suggesting that we get it much sooner than that. I don't know if it's appropriate to say December of much sooner than that's proposed, because it's like a year and a half, and those funds are collected and received by the county much sooner than that. John, maybe you could elaborate on that a little bit.
So at the back of your draft copy, there's a memorandum of understanding, and that's between the city and the county, and the county has agreed to provide us with our first payment by December 31st of 2024. In the main body of the agreement, it refers to April 30th, 2025. So obviously, we want to be able to have this money for the 2025 budget. So we'll have a full year of the payment for next year's budget. So the county has agreed to that in principle, and it's my understanding that they have this on their agenda for approval tomorrow at their meeting. So they are willing to do that and provide us with that payment by no later than December 31st, 2024.
So in our budget cycle next year or later this year, we will be looking at our 25 operating budget, and I know we have the flexibility to move into the next year to pass it. Do we think December 31st is soon enough, or should it be, October 31st? Do we think? I know they agreed to the December 31, but if you're comfortable that we'll know that as you plan the budget, then I'll defer to you. But I know they agreed to do it sooner than the
Right.
April 30th.
I think they would send it to us sooner than that, since that's the last day of the year, but, they understand that in particular, Waterville is different from the other communities because we didn't have an ALS unit, so like White House is getting their final quarter payment. So they're not as concerned about not getting this money as quickly as we are, because they're getting their last payment under the old contract. So they understand that, and I think they're gonna make every effort to get us money prior to December 31st.
Then I'll agree to the memorandum of understanding, but I would ask in your letter to them that they improve on that by at least 60 days, at least try and do that. So with that, we have a motion on the table, and we have a second for resolution 0924. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Next is other information or unscheduled business. Mr. Bruno,
None for me.
John Rozak,
Not tonight, Your Honor, thank you.
and Wayne.
All good.
Nothing, sir.
All good.
Nothing, Your Honor.
So, I want to go back to the last meeting. I had some comments that I made, and I just want to make sure the citizens know, and council knows, obviously our police and our administration gets asked a lot of things, and they respond to them as timely as they can. There was one piece that I may have mentioned last time, about freedom of information. Those requests are legitimate. I mean, they're allowed. Just use some discretion, because it costs us money. It costs us time to honor those, as well as when citizens contact, in this case, myself or others, about responding to situations. We do respond. The police chief does, John does, the fire chief, and certainly Kenny. So rest assured, when you do address council with a concern, generally I get them, sometimes council get them, but they feed them to me so we all know what's being asked, and we try and give the best answer possible. Is it the best system? No, but we aren't sitting on our hands. We are being as proactive as we can. So as a team, going forward, let's continue to operate that way. That is all except one of the best holidays, one of the national holidays are coming up. St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. I wish everybody happy St. Patrick's Day.
Safe.
Wear your green, Aaron go bra, like my mom would say. And, well, I'll leave it at that. So have fun. We need a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Second.
Second, Wayne Wagner. All those in favor say aye. Aye. We're adjourned.